Got it. So something you talked about with pods is being really upfront about expectations. Do you have any from non-pods, but two-parent households? Any ideas on how two-parent households can come together and strategize when both parents are working on how to share this?
Yes.
Hopefully equitably.
Yes. So big fan of having conversation when kids are not around, which given the fact that we're all home all the time is a very
they're always there, Dr.
They're
Mercy.
always there. But thinking about how can you create that conversation with them out of earshot, right?
Okay.
So maybe that's when they're asleep. Maybe it's when they're in the backyard playing. Maybe you have them go color on the driveway and you guys stand inside and watch them through the window. But you want to make sure that if you are having a conversation, which is a difficult conversation, you might not be in agreement, that they're not within earshot. If you can't help it, then you can't help it, and just be mindful that they're listening. But that's a big piece. And then create a space where you say, we're able to disagree, but we're going to be nice about it, right? Some people fight not nice, right? We fight dirty. We start calling names. We call their idea dumb. There's none of that in these conversations, because what you want to go into the conversation saying is, we are trying to figure out what is best for our family, what is best for our kids, what is best in this moment in time. And as long as you have the same goal, name it, like overtly name it and be like, okay, we're trying to figure out what's best for our kids. Then each of you name your priorities. There is no interrupting. You're not allowed to cut people off, because that makes it really hard to feel heard, right? Which is the next piece. You can't cut people off, and you actually have to listen when the other person is speaking, because otherwise you're just like, I'm going to tell you this next. I'm going to tell you this next. I have no idea what you're saying because I'm going to tell you this next, right? And that doesn't create an actual conversation. We have to stop. We have to listen. We have to digest what the other person is saying. We need to be willing to be wrong and admit it. Oh, actually that's a good idea. Let's try it. If you are a couple, like you are an intimate couple, as opposed to friends who are raising kids or people who are divorced who get along, and that
is something that just came up. If you can address that a little bit too, co-parenting in different places for divorced families, how to keep that consistency.
Absolutely. If you are an intimate, or if you are friends and you are willing to, having physical contact while you're having hard conversations can be really helpful. So whether you're holding hands or you have a hand on their arm, but it allows you to actually physically feel more connected while you're having these conversations. It's fascinating how it changes the language. And then the final piece of that I would add is, you want to talk about the action steps that you want to make happen. So you might want to talk about the concepts and the ideas, but make sure that you're talking about, this is what it will look like. Because when I say, I think we should all be kind, that means something different to everybody on this call who is listening. So you want to be really clear of, we want everyone to be kind. That means they say please and thank you. That means that they give me a compliment. That means, what does it mean to you? And get into the action steps, what it looks like. So all of that. And you want to make sure that you walk away with either clarity, like, okay, this is what we're going to go do, or this is when we're going to finish the conversation, right? So I would put a time limit. We have 30 minutes to talk about it. At the end of 30 minutes, we're going to have an answer, or we're going to schedule a next time to talk about it. You can only have 2. By the end of 2 conversations, you need to get to an answer, because you're not going to come to other answers, which sometimes means you got to do what the other person wants and be like, okay, I'm going to let go. We're going to try it, run the experiment, see how it goes, give it a week. Then you can always change it. It's one of my favorite things about decisions. You can always change them. So try it. Agree to try it for a certain amount of time and then change it. If you are divorced or you are co-parenting in different locations, there are certain things that you are going to want to agree on. There are certain things that you're going to want to keep consistent. The amount of schoolwork that gets done, the way you talk about education, those kind of pieces you want to get in agreement with. How you are socializing and keeping people safe, you need to know what the other person is doing. So maybe you have different levels of comfort, but the truth is, given my understanding of what's happening in the world of COVID, whatever happens in their home is going to impact what's happening in your home. So find a way to get on the same page with kindness, while you're listening to the other person of, this is my comfort zone, this is your comfort zone. Okay, these are the kids we're socializing with. Can we make that happen with you? Kind of finding that middle ground, and not taking liberties above and beyond, but really recognizing that you and that other person are the adults need to be the ones making the decisions, I think is the easy way to say it. You have to get with that other adult and say, okay, we need to make a decision here. And then we tell the kids, as opposed to sometimes when there's a division among the adults, one will partner with the kids and be like, oh yeah, we'll do that. Don't tell dad. Oh yeah, we'll do that. Don't tell mom. It creates a really, really intense dynamic across the partnering, right? So even if it's not someone you want to be married to anymore, you still have that same goal of raising amazing kids. And you don't want your kids to have that model that parenting is about throwing the other parent under the bus, even if you don't like that.